right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We're here with Mr. Gray.
Good afternoon.
So, how did we meet?
Well, how did we meet? We met on a, what do we want to call that?
Starry night.
Yeah, something like that. We met on basically a prison floor. It wasn't quite prison. It was a work release facility in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, it's kind of a nightmarish hotel. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like the Days Inn meets anything out of any horror movie you've ever seen.
With a little bit of a crack house vibe to it as well.
I wouldn't call it a little bit of a crack house vibe. I'd say it's 100% a crack house vibe. I mean, it's the only place I've ever been where you could probably literally buy someone's mother for $5.
Well, everything went to the deuce, right?
Yeah. At one time, I mean, when we were there to begin with, it did, and then, of course, later on, heroin, cocaine, the whole situation.
I heard an acid wave just went through there.
There's a rumor about that, although I don't necessarily know that that's true. I know that guys were coming up positive for opiates a lot.
Yeah.
Which would have been heroin, except come to find out, what happened was they were taking them to Stroger's Hospital here in the lovely city of Chicago. Great hospital.
Shout out.
Plug for Stroger's. Shout out to my friends over there. And what happens is when you walk in, the first question they ask you is, are you in any pain? And 90% of the people that are going there, of course, they have pain. So they give them a shot of morphine. Like in the gate.
Right in the gate. Before they even figure out anything's wrong. Oh, what's up, buddy? You look like you've had a hard life.
Right. And half the time, it's not even on the paperwork. So they wind up coming back to the center. Happen to be in a couple days later.
Just trapping them.
And oops, you've just dropped dirty for heroin. Well, they checked all the lists, and it turns out like 90% of them had got this shot of morphine when they were at Stroger's. So we wound up sending a bunch of people back. And for those of our listeners, since we obviously didn't bring this to term here, letting anybody know what exactly we're talking about, there's a wonderful idea in the state of Illinois that if you do the right thing, if you do everything you're supposed to do when you're in prison, you get to go to work release. Work release being a center where you get to basically have a little bit of freedom before you're actually released into the world amongst the living.
Right. Well, you pretty much spend most of your day trying to figure out how to stay outside of the building.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
Absolutely. Because the precedent is that you go in, you get a job, you're released to go on your job every day from whatever hours you work. You get a little bit of travel time there, a little bit of travel time back. Then, if you're doing the right things, you get to take like 6-hour passes. You can put in a pass for 6 hours to kind of go about the city, do whatever you need to do. And then on the weekends, you get to go home for 3 days on a 72-hour pass. So if you're doing the right things, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, that's kind of how work release works for those of you uninitiated.
And everybody's doing something bogus.
Oh, everybody. I mean, and we're talking from the staff all the way down.
All the way top down, bro.
I mean, it doesn't matter who you are in there,
You're doing something grimy. I used to come back, dude, I would come back fucked up. I'd be drunk every night I came back there.
That's very true. That's one of the things I don't do. I don't, well, for one thing, the only thing I do is work. I mean, I don't even have time to go anywhere. I don't take any passes except my weekend passes. And most of the time on the weekends, I'm working then. So I don't come back in hungover, drunk, any of that stuff. Not necessarily because I don't want to, but I mean, one of the things is I don't really want to. But, the other thing is, like, I don't even have the time or the energy or the effort to do so.
Well, you did. You were there permanent party for a while.
That's true. I did spend 5 months.
Jesus Christ.
Permanent party, which is basically in the building all the time. However,
I helped you with maintenance. I did some maintenance work.
Dude, I've seen a lot of maintenance in my life, and I've seen you down there.
Mine was the best.
But maintenance is not what you did.
I mean, my dad ran construction jobs. You'd think something would have rubbed off.
I've seen angry gerbils that can paint better than you. I mean, it's just horrible.
Hey, man, I got in a little bit of trouble for making booze in the center, so I had to, do some hours, and that was the sweetest lick there was.
That's true. If you got to have hours in the center, working maintenance is pretty much about as sweet as it gets, especially when we were there. Because, I mean, man, I never ate in the center. I was never in the center. I was always gone. We were out with staff doing whatever. I mean, we'd go get food. We'd go shopping. We just wherever, whatever, whenever. I mean, it was a little ridiculous. As a matter of fact, it was so bad at one point that people didn't even know if we actually lived in the center. It was just
because you're never there.
Yeah, we're never there. We're never signed out. We're never signed in. Nobody knows where we're at. And the funny thing is, like, everybody's okay with it as long as everything's fixed.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares. Oh, crap, we got a water leak. Oh, don't worry, we'll call maintenance. Call maintenance. Me and another guy go up there, we fix it, and then we're gone the rest of the day out somewhere else. Like, going to Menards.
Oh, yeah, we got to go pick up some parts or whatever. Let's go get food for like 6 hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That definitely happened once or twice.
Oh, the maintenance guys were cool. They didn't give a shit. Nobody was watching anybody with that. You guys, oh man, I just remember the first thing that happened to me when I walked in there is I saw one of my cellies from Pittsfield. He was there and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Science?" I'm like, man, what do you? I saw you go home. It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm back on another bit." This dude lapped me.
That's crazy.
I watched this guy come in. He was my celly at Pittsfield. I watched him come in the door, leave Pittsfield, parole out. And then I get to work release and he's there, so he already caught another case, and then I got to watch him go home again before I left. First time in handcuffs.
You know, that's the sad
So
part.
I'm just like, what the fuck, man?
That's the sad part. I've done 7 calendars at this point. Okay? So the amount of people that I've seen go home, come back, go home, come back is, yeah, I mean, it's a decent amount of people. You hear about people and you see people and whatever. So, I mean, you're talking about dozens of people in the 7 years that I've been locked up that I've seen or heard of coming back, going back, going home, coming back, whatever. You know, I've seen it, heard it, whatever. But I tell you what worries me. In the last year, roughly, about the last year, people aren't coming back.
What do you mean?
Well,
they're not letting them do work release again?
No, it's not a matter of doing work release. I mean, people aren't coming back to prison because they're getting out, they're getting high, and they're dying.
Really?
It's just that simple now.
Do you know anybody that's happened to?
I know a ton of them. 3 of my old cellies.
Maybe
it's me.
Maybe it's your demons that follow you around.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
the scumbaggery is real.
3 people that I've lived with during my incarceration are dead.
Dead or in jail. I guess they already did the first one. So
all from overdoses, and then there's, oh man, well, as a matter of fact, a guy that just left not too long ago on a 72. He went home for the weekend, and he overdosed at home on a weekend pass.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, here in the city, if one thing doesn't kill you, something else will.
Right.
You know, I mean,
if the bullets don't get you.
It's not bad enough that we're shooting everybody on an unrealistic basis.
Well, they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us take passes for New Year's. They make us go to the fucking gym.
Well, that's true, but that's not a shooting deal.
I thought that was originally why.
Well, it was. Years ago, that's how that started. Is because what used to go on in the city, and they pretty much let them get away with it, is, turn midnight, everybody's shooting off guns, and, it's just kind of this big deal.
Another day in the neighborhood.
So they started putting everybody in the gym. But it was everybody that was in the center. Then DOC, because a lot of things happened, DOC came down with this rule quite a few years ago that everybody had to be in the center, locked up by 6 o'clock. And then, of course, this year that changed, actually. It was 5 o'clock. I had to come in an hour earlier than...
Even more fun.
Yeah, a load of fun. And that's the funny thing. They claim all this is for your safety, and they say that, we do this so that you can learn, and that this is safe, and that this is this, and that's that. The reality of it is it's all about power and control.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in this life is about power and control, and they're no different. And I understand it, and I do get it, because no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on, power and control is what rules your life in one way or another.
Yep.
I mean, you work a job, right?
Not anymore. I quit Dunkin'.
Oh, my. What happened?
It doesn't even begin to pay the rent, so what's the fucking point?
That's true. I suppose that's true.
I'm starting a bartending class in a couple days. I'm sure that'll turn into an experience.
That could turn into an alcoholic experience.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'll come see you sometime.
I'll probably be working in one of these places around here.
All right, but I'm not paying for my drinks. I'm just letting you know.
That's fine, dude. We just steal everything we can get away with anyway. Fuck you mean? Dude, if anybody has a problem, we just hit them with that 1,000-yard unblinking stare. That usually solves things.
It's funny you mention that.
You got the best one, by the way. I can't even do mine when you do it because I just start laughing, dude. It's fucking great. Dude, you look like you're about to murder everything. And it's just a blank, non-blinking. Oh, you need something else to drink there, buddy?
No, I'm all right. I have a nervous habit of just picking up and drinking.
Whatever's around.
Whatever's around, pretty much.
There's something good there for you.
Yeah, I'm an addict. And I don't just mean, drugs, alcohol, whatever. Like, I'm a literal addict. I'm a workaholic. I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, whatever
I'm
you do just
addict,
becomes right.
So
you have to limit what you're fucking doing.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to take it all to the extreme.
I do. And I work, and you could ask my wife. I mean, my wife, who's wonderful, will tell you, like, I'm not home. I mean, I'll be at home, but I'm not there because I'm outside. I'm in the shop. I'm in the yard. I'm working.
Well, I can attest to that. You were always going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I am, and it's
always. It's ridiculous. I've never seen a 300-pound dude do more than most athletes. It's ridiculous.
I've done it my whole life. I was raised this way, and I'm country. I come from the country. I come from small town America, farm towns. I can bale hay, milk a cow. I'm that kind of dude. But at the same time,
make bodies disappear.
I mean, whatever you need to happen. You know what I'm saying?
The price is right.
But you can put me in the city. You can put me in the country. It doesn't matter. I know how to survive, and I survive by working with my hands. I mean, I always have. But the problem with that is I am an all go, no quit type of person. So when you get me sitting down, like, for one thing, that's just a rarity in general. Like, if I'm sitting down for more than 2 minutes, like, I'm asleep. That's just how it's going on.
You just crash immediately.
Right, like, it's over with. I've been going for 19 days straight, and I'm like, you know what?
Time for stasis.
I'm just going to sit on the couch for
over with.
And I'm done. I'm snoring. My wife says I'm horrible about that because, she wants to watch shows and stuff with me, so we'll throw on a show, and I'm sitting over there.
She wants to have someone to spend time with.
Because she doesn't get to see me that often. And, she's like, oh, let's Netflix and chill. Which, by the way, I just found out what was the other day, and turns out I like Netflix and chill.
Right, exactly.
But at any rate.
I have no idea what the fuck show you watched, what it was about. Who the fuck cares?
Who the fuck cares?
Netflix.
The blowjob in the middle of it was phenomenal.
Right, take your $9.99 a month shop and, right.
Right, do what you do. It's funny, and we'll come back to that too, because speaking of like Netflix and there's Hulu and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Well, I'm a deplorable scumbag. I don't pay for anything. I just hit up the pirate sites.
But and that's cool. Like, that's great. But let me finish one thing, and we'll come back to this.
All right.
We'll
side
chop
issue.
that as a side issue, right?
Side issue. These are going to start piling up.
Yeah, it's going to get bad. We could be here all night.
Probably will be. It's all
I
good.
hope you guys are settled in for the evening because this could be a while.
Crystal, we apologize in advance. We might end up drinking and whoring tonight. So, well, you know what you were getting into. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this was not a surprise.
This
right?
is why you like him. You don't want to change him. You want to try to change him, but you don't want to actually change him.
Yeah, you don't want to actually change me.
Right. Now that we got the disclaimer out of the way for the marriage lawyers that I'm sure will be hitting you up soon.
Yeah, at some point, I'm sure that's going to happen. Speaking of disclaimers, caution. This show is not for children. If you are under the age of 18, please step away from the podcast at this time.
Yeah, you should not be
And for those of you
listening
parents,
to Felons.
and for those of you parents who are letting your children watch this or listen to this, you're horrible.
No, they're not horrible. They should probably be on the show because odds are.
That's probably true. We probably know you and we love you, and
Right.
you should come over and check us out.
I probably have your info written in my Bible.
Right. If not, it's in my phone. We'll give you a call.
Right.
So, at any rate, so what happens is when I get to sitting down, like, I have to keep moving. So that's my deal with always drinking something. Like, I always have a bottle of water with me because that's what I do. If I'm in a car, if I'm sitting at home, even if I'm just sitting down to have a cigarette outside because I don't smoke in my house, I got to have something. Like, I got to take my coffee outside with me, and I go through a ton of coffee that way. Like, my Keurig, I've had to, like, you're supposed to descale it and clean it and whatever so often, but it's supposed to be like once every 90 days or something.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a weed bowl. Like you let the resin build up.
Yeah,
And then you just kind
that's the
of.
problem with my Keurig.
Right,
I let
scrape
all
the
the resin build
resin
up, and I gotta like
and-
scrape it off and smoke it, and it's
just-
fine.
At that point, it's like free espresso. You'll be all right.
Yeah,
You'll be fine.
but I have to clean mine like 3 times as much as everybody else. And the worst part is, I'm only home 2 days, 3 days a week. You know what I mean? Like.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so I always got something going on in my hand. So yeah, once I run out of water, I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm
Yeah,
trying
Foster's, whatever.
to trying to like stand on top of my head, talk sideways through the microphone, only because I got to keep moving. But anyway, back to the Hulu and Netflix,
Right, the
and,
fucking.
and stuff like that. So it's funny when I got locked up.
What year was that?
2010.
Well, you got it. This is, what, your second rodeo?
This is my second rodeo. My first rodeo was in 1997. That was a joy.
That was a joy?
Oh, yeah. 18 years
Wasn't-
old.
wasn't-
Behind the wall.
Behind the wall?
Yeah,
They had you in Stateville?
Behind the wall in old school Joliet.
Oh,
Before
God.
they closed it.
Right, before it got condemned like 10
Yeah.
minutes later.
And then I did wind up in Stateville for a little bit of a stretch. But, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But that brings me back to the 1,000-yard stare. Back then, before I'd perfected the art, a guy gives you a 1,000-yard stare, and it's serious. Like, that is, you've just hit, like...
No, you feel it go through you like a laser.
Yeah.
And like it pierces your soul, and
You're
you
like,
can
"Oh,
see,
crap. Like,
you can feel
I
it
just
burning a
screwed this
hole,
up."
burning a hole in the back wall behind you.
But nowadays, like, there's no respect for your elders. There's no respect for people in general from these young punk kids.
There's no pecking order anymore.
None whatsoever. So you give this kid a 1,000-yard stare, and he's looking at you like, "What are you going to do, old man?"
And
I'll
he
never-
knows you're gonna fucking wreck him.
Right. Like, there's no doubt in his
He
mind.
knows.
And I've had guys tell me later that got to know me because, of course,
This is why most people that go to prison sign up for GED classes.
yeah, because they're not smart enough to figure this shit out.
Right.
Yeah, they used to, like, the gangs would kind of take them in. They'd be like, "Look, dude, this is how this works. We know you don't have a dad. We know you don't have a mom. We know you live on the streets. You came into prison because, you did some dumb shit.
And you have no friends.
Here's the deal. This is how this works. Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with him. Appreciate your elders. Doesn't matter if they're in the gang or not. Appreciate how this goes. If something goes down, we'll let you know what you can't do,
Right.
that kind of situation."
And try and stay quiet until you figure out the whole vibe of the situation.
Right, and all that's gone. It's over with. There is none of that. And it's horrible. It really is. Because not only is it happening in the prison system,
That's a reflection of the street right now.
it is. It is happening in the street. And there's things that are going on in the street that make no sense to me whatsoever. For one thing, like shootings, all right? We do live in Chicago. Obviously, we are the murder capital of the United States, you know.
Where guns are illegal.
We kill people on purpose here.
Right.
Like, it's not a joke. I've been shot at working on my job. I mean, literally at my job. I've been shot at, not on purpose, which is that's the worst part.
It's the stray bullets.
Yeah, I don't mind if you're shooting at me, to be honest with you.
They shoot like they're in a cartoon. Like they literally hold the gun sideways and don't aim.
Right.
And just start.
They don't look. They don't anything. So I got bullets coming towards me, hitting our van, you know, things like that. And that's the thing. Like, that's the shit that concerns me. Because if you point a gun at me, like, I got a pretty good idea you're shooting at me.
Right.
You know, like, that makes sense to me.
Or else you're done.
Right. And you better pull the trigger. Because, let's face it, if I get a hold of you before you do...
Yeah, it's like you picked the right one, man.
There's going to be an issue.
I don't give a fuck anymore.
But these guys are 3 blocks away, shooting at somebody that's a block away from me, and they're far to my left. You know,
I'm at a 90-degree angle from you.
Right.
How is this
I'm like,
happening? Why
what
am I
is going
dancing?
on? It doesn't make sense.
Well, one of the crazy things that I saw, like, you know, when you have a normal, let's assume everybody has a quote unquote normal life where your whole idea of jail and prison and gangs comes from like National Geographic or something you see on TV, right? So I go into prison and I think it's like some organized, like gangs are organized and they're basically running like illegitimate operations that are structured. No, not at all. Like I went in there because I was in there for cannabis and I was dealing with some weight from California.
Cannabis? Really? Who uses the word cannabis?
Everybody uses cannabis now because it's accepted, except when I did it.
Right.
Right.
When you did it, it was not accepted because this is the state of Illinois.
I got to watch Colorado happen from my bunk in prison on TV.
Right, absolutely.
I was like, can I go home now? No.
Like, see,
of course
here,
not. That'd make entirely too much sense.
Here it's weed and it's illegal. Cannabis is completely legal in some states. But here it's weed and you fucked up. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, normally it's like Kush or Irene or whatever the fuck the buzzword of the day is.
Yeah, purple, nurple,
but no, people would hit me up and they're like, yo, Science, let me get your info, homie. I'm trying to get these packs or whatever. And like, don't you need to like talk to the dudes above you in order to get that okayed with? Because don't you have to go through suppliers that work with your own gang? And come to find out, like, it's just chaos. Like, the gangs break up into their own little cliques and then they war with each other, even though they're riding under the same 6-point or 5-point star. They're all in it with each other and in it with the opposition. And it's like Joker running the scene. Like, there is no order at all. It's just chaos. And the older guys are pissed off about that.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that about the older guys being pissed off because I thought the same thing. I thought that the older guys were pissed off about it. But if you stand back and watch, like, the older guys are falling into the same thing.
God, they're just getting dragged in by the tide.
You know, it is, and it's...
They don't have the strength in their senior years to swim against it
like,
anymore.
you know what? Screw this.
Fuck it.
Like, I'm a big fish. I'm just floating at the bottom here.
I haven't figured out how to get out of the hood yet.
And they're getting ran over is literally what's happening. Because all these young kids, they'll tell on each other.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is they don't want to do... They don't want to
do any time. So, of course, they're going to tell on each other. But let's face it, the cops don't want me or you. We're doing the same thing. They want Joe Blow Smooth, who's at the top of the food chain. And, hell, he's not doing anything to stop this kid from doing what he's doing in the first place. So the kid's like, oh, yeah, it was Joe Blow Smooth. Matter of fact, I'll go sell to him or get from him or whatever. Take this bogus cash to him right now. We'll set him up. We can be doing time together. We'll be homies. What's even worse, they get back out on the street and they're kicking it together again.
No, I've seen multiple times, and I know you've seen it too, where you have a father and a son, or like an uncle and a nephew that are in the same fucking prison block. I saw that at Pittsfield and I saw it at Crossroads twice.
Yeah, but not only that, I've actually seen where two brothers and their dad were all locked up in the same prison. Okay, and
Ladies, help!
and
Someone help us!
And to make it worse, they had all told on each other. Family.
But so they're all equally guilty, so they probably just kicked it. Like they're like, or did they? I don't know.
I don't know. They were all. I mean, nobody got hurt over the situation,
right?
20 years ago when I started this
vicious cycle.
Yeah. 20 years ago, that was different. I mean, if I'd have seen you and I knew, or even if I suspected that you told on me, like I've watched dudes get beat up and raped in the shower. This is a no bullshit story in Stateville. Way back when, seen them get beat up and raped for the suspicion of. Nobody can prove anything, but for the suspicion of.
It's like the witch hunts in Salem. We'll just hold you underwater, and if you drown, well, you were guilty. But if you somehow live, then God spared you, and you were innocent.
What, you think we're doing something different now?
Well, I mean, I don't really see a whole lot of... I never saw any kind of that shit, but I was always in soft joints.
Come on,
they do a really good... Like, for all of you out there, it's not what you see on TV unless you're actually locked up for real shit. Like 80% of people in prison are in there for nonviolent crimes. So they're not going to put you with a cellie or in an environment where you're dealing with people who are doing 30, 60 years for murder if you got caught smoking a joint. Like you're going to be in a place where it feels like you're waiting for your parents to pick you up from high school for like 2 years straight. It's just, you just zone out and just kind of make small talk with whoever's around you. And once you get out, it's just kind of like a bad dream.
Yeah, you just do your own thing and let...
But if you do get miscategorized or some accident happens or you are in there for some fucked up shit, then you're around some fucked up people in a fucked up joint and you're going to get fucked up.
You can. I mean, that's definitely a reality of the situation. And that's a reality of a time that we live in, too. But not only... those things are happening for real, but Illinois is one of the worst places to be doing time because they've tried to restructure everything that they're doing in DOC to eliminate some of the debt ceiling, things like that have happened in DOC from bad judgments on everybody who's ever ran our state. But
well, aren't most of the governors in jail?
Yeah, as an ironic twist of coincidence.
Isn't it like 2 or 3 out of the past 4?
Yeah, all but our current governor. As a matter of fact, the 3 before him are all serving time right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they should put them all together.
Right.
At any rate, so because of those things, like they've tried to structure it where, nonviolent offenders are with nonviolent offenders, violent offenders are with violent offenders, all that kind of stuff. The problem is, and they've learned over in Europe many, many, many years ago, they had done a study, and it started with dogs. It didn't matter what kind of dog you put in there. They started with pit bulls, and it turns out you put a bunch of good pit bulls together with other good pit bulls, like nothing happens.
Right.
How ironic. You put a little angry chihuahua in with a bunch of docile pit bulls, and pit bulls will become angry.
Yeah.
Like that's just what happens.
Well, it's kind of like whatever the dynamics of the pond are. If you throw a rock in it, it's going to get noticed.
Absolutely. And so they eventually went to prisons over in Europe, and they noticed that you put violent offenders with violent offenders,
and they get more violent.
Go
figure. And
then you wonder why, crazy things are happening in places here in the state like Menard, Pontiac, Stateville. That's why they're on lockdown. You can't let violent offenders with violent offenders all the time. Like, it doesn't make sense.
They're just going to try and one-up each other on how fucking fucked up you can be.
And let's face it, these guys are facing life charges.
What the fuck do they have to lose? What are they going to do? Send them to prison?
Right. What are you going to do?
It's like stab you 6 times. What are they going to do? Give me another life sentence?
It makes no difference. The problem is you also can't put violent offenders with nonviolent offenders. So you're kind of stuck in this weird circumstance. But our judicial system is set up in a way that like everybody just gets locked up and we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
So none of that makes sense either. But
well, everybody goes to NRC. Ah, NRC.
Yeah, Northern Receiving and Classification is actually what NRC stands for.
You know who's in there right now? You know who's back? It breaks my heart to see it. Because I was just shooting the shit with Juice. And I was wondering why he wasn't fucking responding to my text.
He's back in jail.
He was supposed to come out here and kick it with me. We were supposed to go out. And I was like, man, come kick it with me. I'm back in school. You can get a Pell Grant. They'll pay for everything. Because he's got a fucking brain in his head. He just makes bad decisions and came from the hood. And man, I was wondering why he wasn't fucking hitting me back. And I pulled up fucking IDOC and ran his name. Sure as shit, dude. He got locked up like February 3rd or 4th. He's still sitting in NRC.
For what?
I don't know. It's got to be a parole violation. But he doesn't get out until August 25th of 18. That's his next parole date.
Yeah, because he's got 3 years of parole.
Right.
So he had to do a year and a half.
Yeah, so I mean, but I even checked like Cook County's court system and ran his name through that, and nothing came up. So I don't think he has a new case, but I mean they got a pretty bogus and busted site for looking that shit up for criminal. You can look up civil all day of the week, but for criminal it was difficult. But so I don't know if he's got a new case or if he just jagged parole by doing something stupid, which is more than likely.
Yeah, but 9 times out of 10. If you're on a parole violation, like, even though it's just a parole violation, like, you don't get violated for just a parole violation. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have done something. And with Juice, he probably got caught driving or something.
Yeah, because he didn't have a license, and he would drive around. All right. Juice was my homie. It seemed like we were the only ones that could just religiously get away with drinking and coming back to the center, like every day of the week. I remember this is how I met the little Mexican chick, Little Rodriguez.
Oh yeah.
This is how I met her, because she was new. I came back up. Yeah,
she's gone, by the way.
Matter
of fact, there's a ton of people gone. Mac quit.
Oh damn, we'll get on that in a minute. But I come back up to the deck at, like, I usually got back at 11:30 at night, right before I'd come bother you and wake you up and talk about philosophy or some crazy shit before you had to get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, twice you did that. 'Cause I told you the second time, you do that again.
Right. Well, then I'd roll over to fucking Pulaski's door, and he warned me. But y'all gave me a little bit of time. I could get you. I could rope you in sometimes. I'd get you on some subjects, and we just keep going, and then it'd be like 2, 3 a.m. And you're just like,
well, that's true, but there's
fuck you, science. Get the fuck out of my room.
There's certain things like I just can't say no to, and
an intelligent conversation is rare in that place.
It is rare, but I'm a very interesting and different breed of
scumbag.
Because like I didn't just piss away all my time. For one thing, I have a college degree. I'm college educated, just for starters. Then, of course, when I went to prison, I decided, well,
correspondence courses.
Why not?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you use your free time? And I'm going to have 7 years of it.
Yep.
Why not use your free time to better yourself? And the great thing is, I wound up in a prison who actually had courses there also, so that helped. And then I was able to get correspondence courses and things like that. And I got to learn a lot about not only myself and kind of like where I was heading, what I wanted to do, that kind of stuff, but also about like how far I'm willing to push myself to find out stuff. Because I'm a knowledge junkie. Like, if there's something out there that I don't know or understand, like, I'll just go find it and figure it out.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what it is. That's one of the reasons I'm a maintenance engineer. I figure shit out. But...
well, didn't you tell your boss, you're like, no matter what you ask me to do, I'm going to tell you I know how to do it. And if I actually don't know how, I'm just going to watch it on YouTube.
Right. Yeah,
and then I'm going to know how to do it, and then I'm going to do it.
Right. So it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. Everything is fine. It's going to be fine. And even if it's not fine, it's fine. But
And now you know where that came from.
right.
For those of you in the know.
So so what happened was I went and my bachelor's is in psychology.
Oh, so you're a special kind of stupid.
Yeah, I'm a super kind of stupid. But I have a minor in general studies, a minor in accounting and business management.
Minor in math. No, you have a PhD.
I have a
in math.
PhD.
We'll get to that.
But in the quest for psychology and psychobabble bullshit, like you can find out a lot of stuff. And I grew up Pentecostal. My grandpa was a Pentecostal evangelist. Grew up in a Pentecostal atmosphere, and
despite all that,
I always had this like something gnawing at me. Like, I don't know, all this doesn't really make sense. Like, it doesn't all go together for me. So when you take psychology and you kind of learn how people act, interact, react, and kind of where the spiritual realm is inside of someone's head, because we all have spiritual fiber in our brain,
right? And we're all yearning for something that we
something beyond, because
can't really explain.
We can't, and we also don't. We have this thing inside of us where we don't want to be alone. Like, we don't want to just think that we're the only person that exists that's us,
right?
You know, and so you learn some of that, and I started looking into a lot of biblical research, a lot of Christian research, a lot of kind of where these different religions and stuff came from. So I found a theology course. And, of course, I could use my psychology and my minors and everything to go for this. And kind of put those all together, and I started studying theology.
They all kind of support and benefit each other.
They do, and it's ironic that it just kind of led me that way. So I started, I of course now have my master's in theology and working towards a doctorate, but the funny thing is, like, you start looking at people differently, especially in prison. When you're studying theology, and once you've kind of mastered the idea, and you start seeing how people quest for things, like, you know, you'll see guys that are all about their business, all about doing the right thing, all about doing that. And you talk to them, and it's all about the same thing. And it's really funny because it's all like, well, you know, I believe if you put good in, you're going to get good out. You know, if you put bad in, you're going to get bad out. So they're like always working for something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then other guys are like, well, I just believe God's got it. I just believe that God's going to, you know, do whatever he needs to do, and it's all going to be fine. Now, this leads to two types of people.
Hold on. They also forget, I think it's very important to remember that God helps those that help themselves. Well, so you got to have some input into the equation. You can't just be like, oh, let's just let go of the steering wheel and see how this car crash ends.
Well, because here's the thing. There are those two types of people. Ones that are just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to keep living my life however I want to live my life.
The Tyler Durdens.
And, yeah, absolutely. And it goes straight to hell. And then there's others who like, I know God's got it, but, you know, I'm going to keep my hand firmly placed on the steering wheel and just let him guide the wheel. And, you know, and those are the guys that succeed. I'm going to be honest with you. Those are the guys that kind of like got it figured out. But, you know, you see all that and you get to watching people a whole lot differently, and you can kind of see where like Juice went wrong.
Yep.
You know, like not only did Juice not have a hold of the steering wheel, but like he was playing with Satan's daughter in the back seat,
right?
You know, while the car was driving, and he
her
had it
cousin
on cruise control. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit's just not going to work out.
Well, me and Juice had some fun because we knew how to work it while we were at work release. I was hoping he'd be a little bit more responsible once he got out, like I am, but like we did that.
I'm sorry, did you just use yourself and responsible in the same sentence?
Probably shouldn't have done that, but you know, whatever. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, they're kicking this podcast straight off.
You'll know where the lies are. But no, we took the CNC class.
The lies started as soon as you started speaking.
Right, as soon as I pressed record, dude. It's just bullshit. But anyway, we were doing the CNC class, so they drive us out to Schaumburg on the van.
Right.
So, of course, Like, as soon as I get there to the building or whatever, we got a few minutes before class starts. So I'm on Google Maps looking at what the fuck's around me because I'm trying to do some bogus shit. And I know Juice is down. And we find out that they give us a 20-minute break every class period. And that's just enough time to walk to the 7-Eleven and walk back. And so
how ironic.
That's what we did. So we would smash a half pint of Hennessy and then go back to class and be the smartest ones in the fucking class.
Right, because that makes the most sense, obviously, to smash a fifth of Hennessy.
No, not fifth. Just a half pint. Yeah, so we weren't going too hard.
That's a fifth a week, in case you couldn't do the math.
Look, nobody's counting. It's not fun to do that anyway.
And yet you're the smartest one in class.
I'm not. I'm not back in fucking Stateville. Anyway, so we would do that, but there was one day. Oh, going back to how I met Miss Rodriguez, I came back fucked up, more so than usual. And I check myself into the desk, and I immediately shoot over to Juice's room to go see what the fuck he's up to. He's, of course, fucking drunk. We're just scheming on all kinds of shit. I'm in there for like 10 minutes. And she walks in the room. She's like, yeah, it smells like straight liquor in here. She's like, you need to go back to your room. And I'm like, all right, I'm gone. So I get up and walk out. And, of course, she's walking behind me. So she's in my wake. She's like, yeah, that smells really strong. And I just look back at her, and I'm like, shh, you trying to get me smoked? And she giggles. I go back to my room. I don't do shit for the rest of the night. And then she doesn't smoke me. I just had this crazy luck while I was there. I've been caught twice. They would just laugh and never smoke me because they knew I'd been there for fucking ever, and I was no problem. But a couple weeks later, I come back up to the deck, and she's working again, and there's like these two fucking dudes that are talking to her because, you know, everybody's scheming on booty there. And I roll up to the window. She checks me in. She's like, hey, what's your BAC right now? I was like, less than average. She's like, all right, have a good night. And the other guy's like, wait, what? What the fuck?
Yeah, you know, and that was the funny thing. Like, you got to be careful there, and it's not necessarily because of the
It's 100.
the
It's 100% small town politics.
It is. That's exactly.
It's
what
100% what it is.
Like, if you're I mean, let's face it.
Like, they know who's doing what. If you're a fucking problem for them, or if you don't make them laugh or feel good during their day, if you don't give them some kind of a pop,
right? Like, you're a problem.
As soon as they can crucify you, they're going to.
Yeah, it's over with. And you know, that's the funny thing because, like, obviously, I'm probably one of the most well-liked individuals in the whole place. Like, these people can call on me, count on me. I've bought meals for everybody. Like,
you have greased every single thing that even looks like a wheel in that building.
Like, I don't care if it's a wheel, a hand, whatever you want to grease.
Whatever's
like,
getting greased.
And, you know, sometimes I've greased people that don't even need greased.
P,
you know?
P used to say, you know, sometimes you just got to pull down the belt a little bit and kiss a little cheek.
Right. You know, you're not kissing the whole ass. It's just a little cheek, you know. It's just the way that it is. But you got to understand that it is politics. It's all politics. Prison's politics. Work release is politics.
Life is politics.
You know, life is politics. It's just the way that it is. It's the way that it's going to be. And the worst situation you can ever find yourself in is when you're in prison surrounded by guys that don't understand that it's politics.
Right.
That is by far the worst situation because they don't know how to act. They don't know what to do. They don't know where this is going. They don't know where it's not going. They just run rampant. They're young. They're dumb. They're whatever. And it's a bad situation to be in because there is no pecking order. There is no understanding of how this is going to work out, how it's not going to work out, how badly this is going to possibly go for them.
Like, I'm not even that good at it. I just know to stay invisible. If I don't have... Most of my time, I would just spend being invisible. But anytime, I wouldn't go out of my way to interact with the people there. But anytime I did have to interact with the people there, I made sure that it was a positive experience. I was always respectful, and I would always get them to laugh. So that became my reputation. Like, oh, he just stays out of the way. He's usually just reading a book in his bunk, or he's at work or on a pass. He's usually not here, and we don't have anything bad to say about him, and he's just kind of like a fly on the wall.
Right. You don't necessarily have to have people say anything good about you to get by and do what you need to do. You just need to make sure that nobody's like, oh, yeah, that's science, that fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you kind of can keep it there, like,
thank you.
But if you want to do above and beyond and more and extra, like, you better make sure that motherfuckers are talking about you like you are Jesus Christ's son, you know?
Yep. That's why you maintenance was always a good gig, especially if you can do maintenance.
That does help.
Right. My paint job was sweet, dude. In the kitchen, come on now. Anyway, yeah, because they see that you're like improving the place that they work, so they're constantly and it becomes, what did you always called it, like you get them trained,
right?
Where they're used to seeing a certain thing. They're used to seeing you bounce all around the building and going from room to room and fixing shit, so that even if you were trying to pull something, it didn't look outside of the ordinary. They just assumed that you were doing some maintenance shit.
Right, because it doesn't matter what you're doing anywhere at any time. It really doesn't. You know, I do the same thing at my job all the time, and I do everything at my job. Like, I do the paperwork, I fix the stuff, I pick up the checks, I literally do it all. But I do so much that nobody even questions, like, what I'm doing. Like, you walk out of there with a brand new car, you know, people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, no, it's fine, I'm maintenance. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's the kind, because people are so used to seeing you just, like, do whatever, whenever, however. They just assume that whatever you're doing is probably fine.
This reminds me of something that I saw. It was like, this dude was at DEF CON, the hacker convention, and he gave a presentation where it was shortly after 9/11, and he wore this outfit, and like his tag literally said, "Your computer guy," and he was like, yeah, people just assume that you're the IT guy and they don't question your credentials or whatever. He's like, so here's a couple pictures of me at like ground zero and at some of the trade center buildings that are still standing, surrounded by FBI guys. Just went in there saying, you know, I'm the computer guy. I'm here to fix da, 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 da. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, just unassuming. They're
right. Because how do you even get? I mean, nobody questions what you tell them as long as you look like whatever it is you tell them.
Back to politics.
It's true. It's true. Donald Trump. Speaking of politics, and we shouldn't even bring up politics, but I'm going to.
Let's start hacking listeners off left and right.
Yeah. So. But I'm going to look at what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump said, look, I'm not a politician. Like, I'm not the guy that you're used to seeing. Like, I say what I want, I do what I want, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Even if I do fuck you, it's not going to be in the way you expect, so it's something different.
And
everybody likes different sex.
Right, everybody. I mean, everybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, I haven't done this before. Let's do this.
Right, why not? Is that a sheep in the bedroom? Whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so, you know, he come out and he basically said it, and we're like, you know what? That sounds different.
Yep. Let's go with that.
And we did, and we'll see how it works out. But I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not against Trump. I'm just stating the facts here. This is not a political program. Please don't shut off your please don't shut us off just because I mentioned Trump.
You've hijacked my podcast and made it political.
Right. I did not do that.
Back to the scumbaggery. How the fuck? All right, so you told me this one crazy fucking story one time about it involved your life passing before your eyes and a pair of pliers in a barn somewhere.
Yeah, so that did happen.
You got to tell them about that.
So here's what happened. I have some super questionable friends, and I did some super questionable things at one time.
Oh, you don't say.
So
that's why you went to prison.
Yeah, I went to prison for aggravated manufacturing of methamphetamines. However, my life flashed before my eyes sometime before I got picked up because I let an idiot do something really stupid. And I realize most people aren't going to understand what making meth involves. However,
oh no, I understood it when you described it to me.
Basic chemistry goes something like this. If you take lithium, the base of lithium...
Start taking notes, bitches.
And you throw it on metal, or have metal touch it or whatever, there is going to be a problem. All right, it creates an immediate, and when I say immediate, I mean immediate flame. Now, depending on how hard it struck, how it can be an explosion, can be a small explosion, can be just a simple explosion like a match. For those of you that don't understand,
kind of like an axe hitting a piece of flint, but it just has to touch it.
right. So here's what happened. We are in a literal meth lab. Okay,
In a barn.
We're in a barn
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere, and it's a literal meth lab. There is tubes and beakers and flammable liquids, non-flammable liquids, anhydrous, gasoline, camp fuel, a whole bunch of volatile, flammable things.
Everything to
Now,
start and IHOP.
So one of the
meth.
things that happen if you pressurize some of the stuff when you put it together, it creates a basic nitrogen bomb. Now, the only thing that nitrogen really needs to explode is a little touch of spark.
Okay.
Very little. Doesn't have to be that big. Any rate. So
Drop a lighter too hard.
yeah, it could be a problem. So there's this guy, and he is what we call peeling batteries. Well, I'm peeling batteries, but I need him to hold something real quick because I have to turn this handle. If I don't, this hydrogen problem is going to become a real problem. So I tell him, hey, hold it just like this. Make sure it's on the metal part, metal to metal. The lithium is sticking out the end. He goes to grab it by the wrong end. Of course, I'm trying to turn this handle. Like I say, there's hydrogen involved. There's a lot of things going on. And then he drops it and then tries to pick it up by the wrong end. And at any rate, needless to say, you're kind of stuck in that position where you're like, you want to do something. And your mind's telling you, like, dude, you got to do something, but you can't at the same time because the only thing you can see is just like 10 minutes of life flash before your eyes. And it really happens in a matter of about 2 seconds. But in that 2 seconds, you're thinking, like, this fucking idiot is going to blow me the fuck up. Through no fault of my own, of course. Like, I'm not going to blow myself up.
Right, but we're all going to die.
This idiot is going to wind up blowing us up. So, yeah, I did have that happen. And, of course, then I did basically wind up killing myself at a different time, but we'll get to that later.
We're going to put that on the side issue pile. We'll get there. So, I mean, a lot of people come from different backgrounds, and everybody does some bogus shit from time to time. It's whether or not you get caught. When you do get caught, it's like, fuck it. May as well tell these crazy stories that everybody wants to hear, because it just gets crazier and crazier, and then you hear about other people's crazy shit.
That's the thing. Like, we've all done crazy things, you know. I mean, my parents are no different. They've done some crazy things, and for their time, like, it was, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. You know, and then we do it, and for our time, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And 20 years from now, it's going to be like, that was no big deal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's just kind of how this cycle works. But the funny thing is, you do hear some crazy stories. And I mean, I've lived my life. I mean, I've literally just lived my life. Everybody else just kind of goes through life. But if there was an opportunity, like, I took it, good, bad, indifferent, anything in between. I just kind of took it and was like, let's see where it winds up.
Right.
You know, a lot of times it didn't wind up good. There was some problems in between there, obviously. But you know, it is kind of fun and funny to just kind of sit back and not only share, you know, some of the stories that I have and that we have together, and that other people, of course, have told us. Like, I've heard stories of all sorts of stuff. I've even heard stories of places where I was at, like,
Of other people doing other bogus shit.
of other people doing shit that, like, never happened. You know what I mean? Like
Fiction?
like I was there, literally seen this, you know, what was happening, and
They're just lying.
they're not lying, but the stuff that happened was a little bit different, you know, than like how it all worked out. And like, they probably weren't even involved, or may not have been involved, or were just like slightly involved, but like they're the main hero of the
I
story.
feel like this
or
has
whatever.
something to do with one of the many like high school stories you've told me about.
Not actually.
I don't know. I remember you talking about like sliding across like a car and like jacking some dude's dad in the face.
No. I was with my stepdad. Well, the other dude, that's a whole different story. That was this dude Mike. That was
Fuck you, Mike.
something else that was going to happen. I wound up having to go around the car. The sliding across the car was I was with my stepfather, and this dude was beating up this chick. And my stepdad pulled the Superman across the hood of the car. You're confusing two stories together, but...
These things happen.
No, just like... people kind of tend to forget that... Like, I tend to try to stay in the background for most things.
Yeah, okay.
It's true. Like when I'm places, like I'm not the guy like you pick out of a lineup. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Unless I'm the guy that ended whatever went on.
Okay.
But so what happens is like I was at a party one time. I was here in Chicago, and I was literally just kind of sitting back in the corner, and this transvestite, you know, is there, and it happens to be a friend of this person that's having the party or whatever. And anyway, some things happened, and the dude that wound up getting his dick sucked by this transvestite winds up telling the story.
Oh, it's that kind of a party.
Yeah, winds up telling the story.
Why wasn't I invited?
In like a third person, you know, like, dude, I was at this party once, and Science was there, and he got his dick sucked by this transvestite.
Hold on now.
But that's not true. You know what I mean? Like, right. Science was over in the corner watching the dude who's telling this story get his dick sucked.
Right.
You know
I'm with the pillow in front of my lap, you know,
right,
taking care of my own.
Right. Yeah. It's that kind of party.
Right. Self-serving scumbag. Let's get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, so you do kind of got to take some of that, you know, with a grain of salt too, and you hear things that you're just like, dude, this can't be true, and then come to find out, like, oh shit, this is true.
It's like, well,
you know?
it's a lot of like, you know, based on a true story. Things are going to get exaggerated here and there.
Yeah, sure. You know, I believe OJ's glove didn't fit and he didn't kill her.
Of course.
Because that's what they
That's
told
why
me.
there was a civil suit that he ended up settling for millions of dollars with the family. Right.
Absolutely, because that makes total sense.
Right, and then a book deal got pulled that was called If I Did It. You know, these things, you know, it's coincidence.
Yeah, complete and utter coincidence.
Complete
All
coincidence.
things, whether lie or not, are based upon, you know,
politics.
some sort of truth. And when you're in prison and when you're kind of going through some of this, like, you have to take that into account, because when things are happening, especially in like a work release center, and you're like, dude, that can't possibly be going on. Like, this is a work release center. These people are under the jurisdiction of DOC. Like, there's no way the people that run this place could be absolutely bogus. And then all of a sudden you're like,
dude, how many of those ladies had to like resign because they got caught fucking around with inmates?
oh my god,
or something like.
It's crazy.
Remember. Let's just call her fucking. What's a Matrix analogy? Well, Miss Smith. Let's go with that. Something about like selling cell phone boxes, and like they were okay with that for a minute. You know, we could get cell phone boxes. So the way you do it is you get your name put on the list after you get a job. And then when your name comes up, they give you a cell phone box. Well, she was just straight up, give me $20. Here are the keys. But it wasn't that got her smoked.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly.
We work on allegeds here, because
Right.
nothing is fact.
Right, nothing we're saying could ever be whatever. So that's what put her on the radar, but it was whenever they found out that she was fucking around with some inmates. And then there was another lady, like a dude had some fucking cell phone footage of giving blowjobs and shit.
Yeah. In a company vehicle, mind you.
Oh, right.
At that.
Oh, man, the state's happy.
Oh, yeah, thrilled. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you or explain, like, everything that went on or goes on at this place.
Dude, it's like a fucking dream. Or a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's more like a
depending on
nightmare.
where you stand on the situation. And, like, you can literally get away with whatever you want as long as, like, everybody gets fed.
Yep.
Like, as long as the whole staff gets fed, you can just commit murder and cut them up into little pieces in the kitchen and flush them down the toilet, and everybody's like, oh, this food's good, everything's fine, don't worry about it.
I'm just going to borrow the janitor's closet for a minute. It's like, don't worry, I already
crazy.
cleaned 3 of the bathrooms. We're cool.
And the worst part is, like, it would be so much better if it wasn't that way. And, I mean, this is coming from someone who's doing some pretty bogus shit in there. But...
Oh, we're going to be telling the Evan Williams story. We're getting there.
Oh, we're going to have to take a break for our listeners here shortly.
Because we've been drinking and now we have to pee.
Right, absolutely.
And cigarettes and other scumbag shit.
Yeah, you know how it is. But I tell you what,
if you're enjoying the podcast, get your commissary through me. Visit amway.com, amway.com. They have a lot of GMO-free and green items, protein bars, snacks, cleaning materials, makeup, you name it. All of their in-house brands come with a 180-day warranty. That's a 6-month warranty. At checkout, enter IBO number 7794667. Again, that's 7794667. And if you want to get put on and get your chop from this shit, shoot me an email at lockdownpodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you. All right, we're back. Got a fresh round here.
Always enjoy a fresh round, especially on a lovely day that we're having here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
Nice sultry 40 degrees right off the lake here in beautiful sunny Chicago. Actually, it actually is pretty good. I mean, it is what, March 4th?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good this year.
I'm doing great, as a matter of fact. I think in the whole month of February, I think I maybe wore a coat 3 days or something, so that's not too bad.
Really? I was wearing a coat more often than that, dude. We had some fucking 20...
Yeah, but you lived in Cali, so, like, I'm not trying to hear none of that shit.
Yeah, but...
Like, if it's 30 degrees or above, I'm in a hoodie and I'm good.
You're also built like a walrus.
There's some truth to that.
Oh, my God.
I might be built like a walrus, but at least I don't drink my liquor out of a shampoo bottle.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, maybe...
Yeah, you do.
One.
We should tell him that story. So this is
I'm not sure anybody should even know that story, like, ever.
No, because it ties into Marcin, and I got something to say about Marcin also.
Yeah, but it questions our scumbaggery. Like, I
no,
mean,
it doesn't. It confirms our scumbaggery.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, let's just be honest. So, here's how you know when you're literally an alcoholic. Okay? And I make no qualms about being an alcoholic. I'm sitting here, I'm drinking a beer, which, of course, I can't have too many of because...
Your body is shutting down from drinking.
Literally. I'm not even 40 yet. And,
so this is for you, America. This is for you.
So this is how you really know when you've met your threshold of scumbaggery and alcoholism.
Dude, the Evan Williams with the shampoo back.
So my good friend,
Mr.
Jackass over here,
hey,
he says, "Hey man, we should really get some whiskey in here." I said, "Yeah, that'd be a great idea. We could all be drunk in here. That'd just be horrible. And besides, how are we going to get it in?" He's like, we'll just get some shampoo bottles. They never check that, and we'll just pour it in there. I'll rinse them out real good. It'll be
I
fine.
got this, bro. I told you here was because you were on permanent party. You couldn't leave the fucking building. How long had you been away from a drink? How many years were you down at that point?
You know what? I'd been without a drink for 5 years at that point, and I was comfortable with that. It was okay. However,
until some little
I did want
fuck named Science put the idea.
I did want to be able to have a drink, because as an alcoholic. And as an addict of anything, the thought in your head is always like, I just want to be able to like go to a bar, have a couple drinks, go home, and everything to be normal. So,
dude, the first time they let me out, my first JD pass, I drank a beer before I went and filled out an application at a grocery store.
Right.
No, I had 2 beers because I had the one, and my waitress, cute little thing, she came back by. And she was like, "You look like you really needed that." I was like, "You have no idea. Can I get another one?"
Right, I don't need one.
Yeah,
I need a dozen,
sure.
hun. What's wrong with you? So, at any rate,
cut me off when I'm on the floor.
So, Science goes to CVS, buys, what was it, Tresemme, maybe? Or
fuck yeah. Nah, but you gotta... Here was the stipulations. I framed it right, because I didn't have a whole lot of money, because I was working at fucking Dunkin' Donuts, right?
True.
And I was like, look, if you pay for whatever it takes for me to get this shit in here,
I'll get it in.
I'll get it in here.
Right.
And I wasn't aiming low either. So I went to fucking.
I gave him the money.
It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be on Friday, on Friday night. But this is one of those things where you gotta really play it with your gut instinct. So it was a Thursday where I left for work, and I'm on the train on the way from work, and it just hits me like, oh, it's now or never. So I bought a handle of Evan Williams before I even got to work. So I'm committed at that point because I have no place to put this fucking thing. So it's coming in. Like, there's no getting around it. That bitch is coming in the fucking building. So I work my shift, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to fucking... What am I going to put this shit in?
Right.
So I first thing I do as soon as I get off work, and they give me 2.5 hours to get back. It takes an hour to get back. So the first thing I do is I go to the bar where they have $2 shots of whiskey, and I take a couple shots of whiskey to try and get my mind right for how to smuggle these booze back into prison.
That's exactly what you want to be doing.
Right. This makes entirely too much sense. So then I shoot over to CVS, and they have Tresemme on sale, and I actually use Tresemme at the time.
Yeah, it's not helpful if you dump it down the drain.
Well, I mean, how long was my fucking hair at the time? Like, I mean, it was at least
That's
a
true.
foot
He
long.
did have very beautiful hair.
Yeah, luxurious hair.
I mean, he could have been sucking my dick, and when you look down, I've never known the difference.
Why are we going down this tangent?
It was beautiful hair.
Easy
That's
there,
all I'm saying.
Easy there, Papa Bear.
I was locked up a long time, you know? You were cute with long hair. What do you want?
And I'm bringing you booze. Anyway. So, I go to fucking CVS. They got Tresemme on sale. I'm like, all right, perfect. I snatch up the bottles. And then I have this ridiculous scheme in my head. I buy some Ziploc bags and some super glue. Because my idea is to fill up the shampoo bottles and then put, like, a piece of cutout Ziploc bag and glue it on top so that I can add a little bit of shampoo back in that and then super glue the cap on. So if they pop the cap and squeeze, shampoo will come out and not booze. But of course, this turns into like a complete disaster. So I go back to work.
Epic failure.
I go back to work with the shampoo bottles, and I'm just in the like. I've only been there not even a full month. And I'm pouring out the shampoo bottles into the sink in the back with my manager and the owner right behind me talking to each other in Hindi. Like, they just don't notice. Like, this is completely casual for this fucking dude from work release to just be pouring and rinsing out shampoo bottles in our sink.
Never seen anything more normal in my life.
I'm sure they've seen worse. But, so I rinse them out like a dozen times, and I fill them up even. I do a really good job of balancing it out even. And I go back over to the CVS parking lot, and I'm sitting on the fucking curb. And I'm trying to glue these bags in, and it's not working at all. It is not holding. It's not bonding to the plastic. And eventually, I just give up. I'm like, look, I gotta get going, or else I'm gonna be late. And that's the worst thing that could fucking happen.
Right, absolutely.
So
Walking
I just pull out
liquor.
these shitty little plastic pockets I'm trying to make, and just put a little super glue around the bottom of the thing, and just screw the caps back on. And I'm just like, all right, fuck it. It is what it is. I take the train back, and it was perfect, dude. It was beautiful. Mac was coming back with a store run. So there's a whole line of fucking dudes with shopping bags filled with groceries. And I just jump right in the middle of all of them. And I know that they're pretty much just going to be waving us through the shakedown room at that point. Like, there's too many. Nobody cares that much.
Right.
And so I get in there.
They don't pay them enough to care that much.
Right. I get in there. I throw my bag up. Mac unzips it. He immediately pulls out the 2 bottles of shampoo. And I'm drunk enough to play it cool. And he sets it up. And Mac is bald. So he makes this little joke. He's like, ooh, Tresemme, I use that too. And I'm like, ha ha ha, yeah. I was like, well, I mean, look what I got going on. I got like a foot of hair, man. I run through that shit. He's like, yeah, I believe it. He does a quick little pat down to me. He's like, all right, head upstairs. I'm like, all right, sweet. I take these bottles. I get back in my room. I think I send somebody down to your door to come get you. And then when you walk in my room, I already have them opened, and it just smells like liquor.
Oh, my God, it reeks when I walk in
That's exactly what you said. You're like, oh, my God. You immediately went back to your room and got your air fresheners.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was super bad. But, yeah, so he's like, oh, let's do some of this. I'm like, man, not right now, hold on. Because we had to wait for a shift change. Because you came in right before a shift change.
Right, they still got to do count.
Right, so we wait for a shift change, and at the time, I was doing nighttime floors for maintenance because we were getting ready to go into a.
That's right.
We were getting ready to go into a.
I didn't make it for that.
Whatever. But at any rate,
that was hours later. I didn't make it.
So we polish off this first bottle. All right, we start on this first bottle for starters. And the first shot in, we're both like, "Oh my god, that tastes like Tresemme." Like
no. I mean, it took
shampoo.
a second. Like you take it and you be like, "Oh, that's whiskey," and then you swallow and you're like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah,
what?
That's whiskey shampoo.
Right, that's got a Tresemme back to it."
It was super, super horrible.
What else do we got? I rinsed them bitches out like a dozen times at least too, but I guess it's just in the plastic.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Obviously, it doesn't matter. For those of you out there that want to try this, do not use plastic bottles. Like, it does not work out. But at any rate, so we proceed to go down to my room, and we're drinking. Well, at the time, we both smoke, and of course, there's no smoking in there. And
Right, so we just smoke in your room.
right, so we start smoking in the room with the fan in the window. At one point, there's three of us in there drinking.
Hold on, Marcin would come back from welding class.
Right.
And he would, because there were white people in the building, but like we were probably like a third of the population, if that.
Oh God, if you're lucky.
Well, at least a quarter. But anyway, like Newports are the ones that are going around the building because we're in the fucking hood, right? And stereotypes are stereotypes. And white people would prefer fucking Marlboro Reds. So Marcin would fucking come back. This fucking Polish, what was he, 22-year-old kid?
Oh God, I don't know. He's not very old.
Yeah. He would come back from welding class and he would duct tape like 1 or 2 packs of Reds all the way at the front of his boot so that when he had to tap his boots upside down, nothing would come out. And so he comes back and sees that we're fucking getting it. And at one point there were 3 of us and there were 4 cigarettes in rotation.
Yeah, don't even know how that worked out.
Well, I had Newports, Marcin had Reds, and you had Parliaments.
Pall Malls.
Pall Malls, that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I smoke Pall Malls, not
Right.
Parliaments.
Right. Well,
We've all
blue.
got standards.
Right. Okay.
Not that mine are very good, but it's
Right.
still standard.
As we're drinking shampoo tasting Evan Williams
with I have standards. Yeah,
in
so-
prison.
Yeah, I'm drinking shampoo liquor in prison, but
And we're drinking it out of our fucking clear prison cups.
Yeah, out of our clear prison cups, as a matter of fact. Yeah, this is fantastic. So anyway, we go through a whole bottle, and science is feeling it pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Trashed.
I haven't really started feeling it yet, but the problem with that is when I drink, like, I don't feel anything
Until it's over.
until, like, it's too late. By the time I feel drunk, I'm like, oh shit, I'm drunk.
I think it's a psychological thing. Like, as soon as you close the back cover of the book, the
Yeah.
whole plot hits you.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, I'm
That's
drunk.
what happened.
Holy shit. So anyway, we polish that off, and Science goes in his room. So I go get him, and I go get Marcin. Dude, we're doing this other one.
Yep.
We're going back to drinking. We're not drinking tomorrow night. We're drinking tonight.
We're killing it all.
killing
the
it
whole
all.
fucking handle.
No, bro. Science is all drunk. No, bro, man. Well,
You know, I need like 2 ounces of peer pressure, if that, and I'm back down.
I said, look here. You're coming down to the room. This is what's happening. Me and Marcin are going to fucking do the floors. We're going to continue drinking. This is what's happening. Any rate, long story short, I'm fine when I go to bed. I woke up with a hangover because, of course, I hadn't drank in years. But we polished off a whole handle of Tresemme-backed fucking Evan Williams.
The best kind.
Somebody over here slept on a top bunk at the time.
Right.
Winds up yakking all over the floor.
Yep.
Juice was your celly.
Yep. I can't wait till we get Juice on the show. Hope he gets out soon.
I hope he does, actually. We need to get him on here, like, all together.
Yep.
Because, like, of all the people that could do this show appropriately, like, getting me, you, and Juice together could work.
Yep.
But, like, you can't put me with just anybody.
Right.
Because, like, we'll start talking about some stuff, and I can talk about just about anything. I'm intelligent enough and well-rounded enough to be able to do that. And Juice is, too. Even though he comes from the hood and he's a little bit ghetto.
Dude, he's just our brother from another mother.
Right.
Me
like,
and Juice got
he's
along
not
great.
An idiot.
Right. Well, he tells me, because I have to put this shit together. The last thing I remember doing is walking out of your room, and I do remember bumping into the wall and just sliding down the hallway. And remember, I have to go through the
Mind
bubble.
you, yeah, he has
I have
to go through the bubble where there is a CRC.
And my room shares a wall with the bubble, and that bitch is paper fucking thin.
That's very true. However,
I have no idea how I got away with this shit.
Because, and I'll tell you why.
Good friends.
Right.
That's the only reason.
The only reason anybody got away with this is because I was super cool with the chick that was in the bubble. Because, I can't even remember her name, but she loved me. She doesn't work there anymore either, by the way. The skinny chick.
Heavy rotation.
Oh, it's super bad there. But it's the one I used to flirt with back and forth, and she had the baby and all that.
Oh, was that Harding?
Yeah, Harding.
Oh, Harding's my homie too. I used to come in drunk and just
but that was after the fact because at the time,
this is still new. I'm still relatively green at this point. They had already popped me for making booze. Well,
but that wasn't even you though, right? That was your celly at the time.
Oh no, I sold it. Well, no, that was fucking me, dude.
Oh, well, whatever it was.
That's how I sold it. Because it was easy to do because everybody knew he fucking smoked K2 and he had a bunch of scumbags
coming in while I was
a fucking revolving door in and out of my room with a bunch of K2 fucking idiots. So I just played it off like, I don't know who the fuck it was. You see this merry-go-round, you know it's not for me. Anybody could have brought whatever the fuck in here. And so that's how I played it off. That's the only reason I escaped that shit. But no, that was fucking me, dude. I was making booze.
Well, the question is, why aren't you making booze and selling it now?
I don't really know. I mean, I grew up in Virginia and it's illegal there, so I'm pretty sure it's illegal in Illinois too.
That's the funny thing. People think that it's illegal to make booze, but it's not. It's illegal for you to sell booze over a certain amount without a tax stamp.
Okay.
That's a fact.
You think I'm going to try and get a tax stamp?
No, of course not.
No, why would we do anything like that?
We're scumbags.
Yeah,
what's wrong
we're
with
north
you?
of the river. Wasn't that Capone's territory? Anyway. Anyway, I wake up the next morning. I remember leaving your room and sliding down the hallway. I don't remember going through the bubble or getting back to my room. And Juice tells me, he's like, bro, we talked for hours. He's like, we talked for at least 3 hours. He's like, I roll over for not even 10 minutes to go to sleep. And I just hear, boom, Juice, help. He's like, you fucking fell to the fucking concrete floor. And I was like, that's why my neck hurts, because my body stopped my head from getting really hurt on... Oh, no, my head stopped my body from getting really hurt on that one. And fucking... He's like, yeah, you hit the floor. It's like, you start throwing up. He's like, I don't know what to do with this situation.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's copyrighted. But he takes off down the hallway in just his boxers and goes and gets like JD and Marcine and they come in and clean everything up. But I wake up the next morning on the bottom bunk with no sheets on.
You notice nobody comes and gets me.
Right. No. I wake up on the bottom bunk with no sheets on. With you coming in my room in the morning on you would always say some bogus maintenance shit to come in my room. You'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to fix the pipe or whatever and start smoking a cigarette. Right, you just dig my lighter out of the fucking trap that I used to keep it in and just start lighting up in my room. Oh yeah, we're going to, whatever. So you come in, you're like, oh yeah, we're going to fucking fix the window or whatever the fuck. Science, you all right, man? And I'm just waking up, so I don't even have a hangover yet.
Yeah,
I'm just
mind you,
fucked
I'm
up.
not hungover yet either because I woke up, went to work like everything was normal, came upstairs, did everything I was supposed to do. I got downstairs, had to go to the bathroom, and we were just sitting there for a while. And as we're sitting there for a while, all of a sudden it sneaks up on me, and I get an immediate headache. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good.
Dude, I'm still fucked up. Like, I'm still ripped up and laughing.
Right.
Like, I'm still giggling drunk. And it's, what, like 8 a.m. or something?
Yeah, it was early.
Juice is gone. I don't even remember him coming back or anything.
He probably never even went to sleep. He probably just left, went home, took a nap, then went to work.
Shit, he had it so hooked up that he would come back for like 5 hours at the most and then leave out. That was the sweet thing dealing with the car dealerships is you just make up your hours for that shit. He was going to and from the crib both ways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and then... Yeah, that was
yeah, this is prison life. This is the end of prison life for both of us. That's how it ended. in us doing pretty much whatever we wanted, however the fuck we wanted, whenever the fuck we wanted.
As long as you try and keep it behind closed doors.
You can open the door and just pay these bitches, and everything's fine. Like the only problem I've ever really had is with my counselor. Like she was just out for it because I was white, and then she figured out that she couldn't get me, so she was like, you know what, screw it.
Did she eventually just finally give up?
She did. As a matter of fact, she called one time, and I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and
she just stopped caring.
She was just like, you know what, I'm not even writing you up for this. And she told me, she's like, you know what, I was like, I could have wrote you up. I was just like, screw it, I'm not going to. And I have my own reasons for that. And I was like, yeah, like nothing's going to happen. She's like, pretty much.
Yep. You just wear them down. I was so lucky to have the case manager I did. He still works there, dude. That's the smoothest motherfucker in there. As long as you don't pop up on the radar, he doesn't give a fuck. He'll give you whatever you need. His main thing is as long as you bring back your checks.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that he can look bad for. Because they start looking for that shit now. But, I mean, if your hours are short or whatever, he's still letting you take all your passes and stuff. He doesn't care about that. As long as you fucking are working and bringing back a check every 2 weeks or however often you get paid.
A lot of things don't matter to him. Like, my counselor was a little different, and she still is. She's completely by the book, which is fine for me. As long as you know the rules ahead of time, cool.
Right.
And that's the biggest problem with work release, especially there.
Subjective.
Like, they pay these people $12 an hour to watch guys who are making... Like, I make a shitload more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm making twice what these fucking people make.
Dude, you remember...
I just bought my wife a brand new fucking 2017 Dodge Journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, straight off the showroom floor. These fuckers couldn't even think about affording that. Like, everybody there is driving base model 2000 and...
Well, we're in the hood, and they're hired from the hood.
And they are. And so, you know, you make $12 an hour. They're forcing you to work like 50, 60 hours a week. So the only money you're actually making is on overtime. And
which you're required to do.
Right, which you're forced to do, which you're sick and tired of fucking doing.
Are they still doing 12-hour shifts there? Or did they finally scale that shit back?
No, they scaled it back, and then they had to go back to it because they lost everybody.
So yeah, because their staff shrunk. Yeah. Now they need to force everybody to take up more hours. Okay.
Absolutely. So it's completely screwed up. But I walk in and I'm like, look, here's the deal. Like, I'm hungry. You bitches hungry? You know, you guys want to eat? Let's order some shit. Oh, what do we order? What the fuck you want? You want steak? Let's get steak.
Well, they do keep a fucking stack of to-go and menus in their drawer.
Most of those came from me.
Well, there you go.
This is no bullshit, though. They do really keep a stack in the drawer, and they used to keep them literally just for, like, me and Pulaski.
Yep.
Because we'd go up there and we'd be like, hey, look, we're hungry. What do you guys want? We're buying. You're flying.
Yeah, that game's for the wheel greasing, the little pull down.
We bought 140 buckets of chicken one time. That's not even a joke. We made 14 trips to KFC, had everybody and their mother come down. It was a Saturday. Mac was there. They had the $9.99 10-piece chicken. You had to bring down $13. If you brought down $13, we'd write your name down and we'd order chicken from KFC. Every time we got 10 people, we'd make a run. 140 people ordered chicken.
Yeah.
And I ordered 3 or 4 different things of chicken. Mind you, it was only like $11.25 for the chicken. So the other money I kept, which bought all the rest of it. And then I would go upstairs and sell 2- and 3-piece meals with, you know, a little bit of mashed potatoes, a little bit of whatever, you know, for $5.
You're chopping up the work.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's how I was kind of
hustling,
doing my thing and whatever. So, anyway, we bought 140 buckets of chicken, and everybody ate.
Yep.
I mean, literally everybody that was in this fucking place ate. Everybody was cool with it. Fine, do what you want to do, whatever. It's all fine. Everything's good.
Yep.
Oh, you're smoking in the bathroom. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. But that's how they get down. And a lot of them, like, this is how they live.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean,
they're getting paid shit, but if they can fucking eat for free by, you know, looking the other way when the more, how shall we say, respectable inmates
yeah.
are doing their bogus thing. Because there's people in there doing far fucking worse. How many people have fallen out since you've been there?
Oh my God.
30, 40?
I'd hate to even guesstimate.
Orange Crush came through twice while I was there. That sucked.
I wasn't there either time.
Yeah.
Ironically,
You lucky motherfucker.
And you know the only reason I wasn't is because both those times I had taken my passes on a Thursday.
Yeah. Right.
For no reason whatsoever.
I came back my usual fucking drunk from work. I come around the corner, coming towards the door, and it's fucking CPD is like 5 or 6 deep out in front of the center. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking to the guy that I'm shooting the shit with on the walk back, and I already stopped in the alley to piss because that's an hour-long train ride, and I've been drinking.
Right.
So I'm in the shadiest fucking alley in Chirac taking a piss, not giving a fuck because I'm on my way back to prison. Fuck you gonna do to me?
Right.
So I come around the corner, it's CPD, and I just look at my homie and I'm like, let's get this party started. I roll up there, they're like, ID. I'm like, state or inmate? They're like, whichever. I'm like, all right, I'll give you the inmate one. Everybody likes to see a barcode.
Makes them feel special.
I give it to him. He radios to the front desk. He's like, so-and-so's coming back in. I'm like, all right. He's like, all right, well, we have to wait for the guards to come out, put you in handcuffs, and escort you inside. And at this point, I think it's like personal. I haven't
right.
put together, like, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I think this is personal. I think I popped up somewhere.
Right, haven't put
and
it together
I'm
yet.
running through every regret in my entire life. Like, please, God, please, just, I'll never do anything bogus again. Just let me get through this. And, 5 minutes later, you're smoking a cigarette in the bathroom, like, fuck Orange Crush. But anyway, they come out, put me in handcuffs, and it's Orange Crush. And I'm like, oh, God. They take me inside. They take me to the back room, fucking strip search, pat down, run through all my shit, count out my money in my wallet in front of me just so they know that they're not taking anything. March us into the fucking gym, hands against the wall. Stand there for like 30 minutes. They got canines walking around. And I'm just like trying to hold my breath because I know I'm just... I don't know, man. I think...
Right, like, as soon as you breathe, they're like,
I know, I'm just...
we're going to need you to blow in this
And
balloon.
so many times it was about timing my breathing that got me away with that shit. But anyway, they're like, yeah, he's clear. Send him back up to his room. And I go back up to my room, and my cellie is fucking freaking out because he hadn't been working, so he's still in the building. And he did heroin. So he knows.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Fucking Red. Oh, my God, dude. So he knows he's fucked if they fucking come in there. He's like, science, dude, just fucking get in your bunk. Don't say shit. Like, turn out the light. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm fucking watching TV. I just went through all that bullshit. I'm cool. Everything's good now. It's like,
And the funny thing is they didn't even do the fourth floor.
No, exactly. They did because the problem. Well, all the workers are on the fourth floor, so they don't.
Right.
They assume that you have to be a certain level of respectable to be on fourth floor because you have to have been holding down a job for a while. Can't have like tickets or drug things that have happened because if you get popped for drugs or some shit, they send you up to fifth, which is just a sentence. And then when you come in, you're on third, which is just a trap because that's receiving and everybody's on bullshit there because you got people who are got to do 2 weeks before they go home. They don't give a fuck.
Right. Or you got guys like me who've been locked up 5 calendars and you put me around a bunch of guys who are smoking K2, drinking, smoking,
doing short
whatever.
fucking time. But at the same time, you realize you're like, oh, well, no matter what I do, it's going to pale in comparison to what the fuck I'm surrounded with.
Right, absolutely.
The volume on 3 was so loud that,
Oh, it was nuts. Super nuts. So I do have a little tidbit of update in my life.
What's this?
I don't know if I've told you.
You're getting divorced?
No, I'm not getting divorced.
Not yet?
No, I'm not getting divorced again, as a matter of fact. Ironically, I do love my wife, and I don't want her going anywhere. I mean, if she does, I can't stop that. But
yeah, you can. There's duct tape.
No,
and,
so...
the standard drill.
There's a statistic that says that, like 1 in 3 children of parents who have been in jail will wind up in jail and on drugs and whatever. So my oldest child is currently in jail. He's 20, and he's looking at 15 years, which is not funny.
I was looking at
But
6 to 30.
For the funny part, and not funny haha, but funny as an ironic, he was high on methamphetamine.
There you go. There it is.
Yep, there it is, right there.
Full circle.
Yeah, at any rate, he was high on methamphetamine. So look, guys, all joking aside, like, this shit's serious, man. We talk and we joke and we share stories here, and try to make you guys understand that prison is just another life outside of life, and we're just normal people, just like anybody else.
So what do you think, though? What do you think is the?
Well, here's the thing.
Do you think you should be open with your children about what they did, or do you think you should try and? I think I almost want to say, like, trying to hide all your fucking stories is going to allow history to repeat itself. But
I don't,
it's hard to say.
But here's the thing. I don't from him because, like, it's too late. You know what I mean? I just try to tell him.
It's like my last relationship. Well, that turned that into an ashtray.
Put that out.
Whoops.
But no, I just try to tell him the truth and let him know, like, dude, I've been there. I understand what's going on. Like, man, let's work it together. You know what I mean? But all joking aside, this shit's serious, man. Prison takes a lot out of you, and it takes a lot out of your family. I mean, whether or not you're an addict or an alcoholic or anything in between or nothing in between, the reality of it is this shit will come back to bite you in the ass. I'm not proud of what I've done. I'm not proud of who I was. I can tell you right now, I'm very proud of who I became, and being able to do the things that I've done in prison to better my life. I'm not telling you I'm a great person or
and to have fun. We had some fun.
We had a blast. I've had a ball, but that's all about how I do things, and how I've made my life and been able to kind of work the system and work around the system and in the system and through the system. So it's not something that I would recommend to anybody else, but I mean, it's just kind of the way that it is and the way that it was. So when you take all things into consideration, just understand that we're not trying to be funny here, because prison is no laughing matter. This shit's not a joke. It's not anything that I recommend to anybody. But the way that they run the system and the people that they hire and the things that they do, it is a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke on the establishment of the state of Illinois. It's a joke on the establishment
it's a big
of
fucking
the federal
game.
government. It's a joke in the matter of politics. Politicians think that everything they do and say is better for us, and the reality of it is it's not. Giving me more time,
dude. They
giving
throw
me more
you in
time,
a fucking closet, and they don't give a shit about you. Just
right?
don't make
And that's
their
the reality
life
of it.
difficult.
Giving me more time for one crime as compared to another is not what solves this problem. What solves this problem is people getting off their fat asses that are sitting on Capitol Hill and actually getting out, learning about what's going on in the community, and solving the problem before it happens. It's just that simple.
Dude,
methamphetamines, heroin, cocaine, these are all problems. These are all legitimate problems. But you arrest these people who are high, fucked up, making, manufacturing, whatever, and then you give them a bunch of time, but you don't give them help, that's a fucking problem. Get these people into rehab. Get these people into something that they can grasp a hold of. And each person is different. One of the things I didn't mention, I also happen to be a certified associate addiction professional. So,
this sounds official.
Yeah, it is. And I have documentation to prove it. The reality of it is every person is different and every person's got a little bit of a problem, and we just got to figure out how to address all that. Here on Lockdown, of course, we're trying to...
Are you taking over my fucking show?
I am at the moment. I am at the moment. Here on Lockdown...
Jesus Christ.
What we're trying to do is just let people know and become familiar with what's going on and everything that's happening out here in the unreal world of prison. I'm Mr. Gray. I'm out for now. Y'all have a wonderful week.
All right, we'll have more guests on. This is just the first episode that's in the can. But I kind of figured there's a lot of podcasts out there about crimes and about cases that have come through the judicial system, but I've yet to see anybody where you're just talking to the people who did the shit and lived the life and have been there and done that. And we are real people. So I'm just giving an outlet so that you know that we are actually human beings and we do have a pulse and we are fucking crazy. But it is what it is, and hopefully you enjoy, and we'll see you next time. If you're enjoying the podcast, get your commissary through me. Visit amway.com, amway.com. They have a lot of GMO-free and green items, protein bars, snacks, cleaning materials, makeup, you name it. All of their in-house brands come with a 180-day warranty. That's a 6-month warranty. At checkout, enter IBO number 7794667. Again, that's 7794667. And if you want to get put on and get your chop from this shit, shoot me an email at lockdownpodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you.